So this is the main power panel for my house. It's GE based, which means each circuit breaker is a GE circuit breaker. There are different ones in the box stores, as you'll see if you go to a Home Depot or a Lowe's, and I have to get the ones that have the GE symbol on them. I just want to reinforce the caution that there's a lot of electricity in here that'll knock you on your butt and likely kill you, so you have to be extremely careful. And it's best if you have a lot of experience working in a main power panel, or you get somebody who knows it, or preferred, get yourself a qualified electrician to do this side of the work. You can work on the smart home panel side, but this side requires somebody that knows what's going on. So basically, in this panel, we've got the 200 amp coming from the street, from the utility. Here's the main shut-off. And even though that may be shut off, which it is not now, this is all still hot up top here. And fingers placed anywhere they shouldn't be placed will kill you. So you have to be extremely careful. Right now, with it still turned on, we got power down the two back planes here. You can see each one is 1/2 of the 220 volt circuit. So one side is 110 volt, the other side is 110 on a slightly different phase. You can see when you put in a 220 breaker, you're straddling the two back planes there, so you get one from one 110 circuit and one from the other. So what I've done here is I've put in the two 30 amp breakers that I need for the smart home panel. I didn't get something with a common switch between the two, so I have to be sure that I throw them on and off together. At the time I bought them, I only had one Delta Pro, so I would just turn the one on that was connected to the smart home panel. Now I have to turn two of them on, of course. So you see I've labeled all the circuits that I have going to the smart home panel. So the idea here is that you are interrupting the original house circuit under each of these circuit breakers. A wire goes to that particular circuit in the house. It might be kitchen plugs, or bedroom lights, or living room plugs, something like that. And you go just down the list and pull each one of those wires out and wire nut it to the black wire on that particular circuit from the smart home panel. And you put the red wire from that circuit from the smart home panel in place of it under the circuit breaker. So basically what happens is current from this circuit breaker here, number one, goes via the red wire all the way through the conduit that I pointed out in the previous video, pops out and goes up into the smart home panel, into one of the relay boxes. And then the other side of it comes out of the smart home panel as a black wire and is wire nutted to the original wire that was under the circuit breaker and goes back to the house circuit, whatever that might be. One of the things I like about this setup is that if for some reason I decide I can't use this anymore, I don't want to use it anymore, or something like that, it's very easy just to put everything back the way it was, pull that wiring out, and the main panel is back exactly the way it was. So that could happen if in fact I find that heat becomes too big a problem, or the Delta Pros fail too often, or for some reason an inspection or some sort of a review indicates that I can't do this because things aren't somehow approved for homes in this area, or I'm selling the house and the new owners don't want it, all kinds of reasons. And basically if that happens, bang, it's all back the way it was. So after I realized that I really wanted home runs like I described in earlier videos, I cut 7-foot wires, black and red, and ran them through my conduit and put ferrules on the red side, smart home panel side, and connected them to those little connectors in the smart home panel, and pulled them through the main conduit here, and pulled them in and just left them hanging out, and then eventually pulled the black ones through, left them hanging out, and then one at a time. You see it, I've still got some of the labels left here. As you pull them through, sometimes those things get kind of loose and will come off, but the commissioning will tell you if you manage to keep it organized enough and you're getting the right wires on the right circuit breaker. Now, I mentioned before, these are the two breakers that go back to the Pro 1 and Pro 2 connections inside the smart home panel. So these things get turned on to provide power that is then used by the smart home panel to charge the Delta Pros so that they are ready to provide power at the appropriate time. So the scheduler is what turns these things on and off. And right now I have the Delta Pros getting recharged between 10 and 2, and at that point we have solar power which comes in here, plus the utility power providing the power that is needed in order to make those things recharge. And then in the evening between 5 and 9, that's when power is more expensive. So now I reverse that and I use the battery with the cheaper power in it to drive all the different circuits in the house, and that's been working out pretty well. The switchover, the 20 millisecond, I mean, you can see a little flicker in the lights, and my laser printers will cycle just very slightly, but other than that it's seamless. Now that's the same thing that would happen if there was a power outage. It would suddenly, the smart home panel would recognize that, oops, there's no utility power, and it would insert the battery power in its place. Now the battery power, I can see that it takes 50% to run 4 hours of the normal house systems, and you also can see that I'm not providing power for the air conditioning HVAC systems. I'm not doing the dryer. That one's possible because they're 30 amps, but we can sort of control when that happens. We can't really control the HVAC during the summer. I mean, it's just running all the time. This is the stove, which of course you got some control over when it happens, so it's just a matter of trying to plan our cooking and such outside that time frame to make it work out okay. And most of the other circuits are set up to have the power backup. Down here is the Tesla, which was the previous owner, and I do use that to power the to recharge the batteries on the Winnebago RV. And this guy is used to power the hot tub. And again, those are things that I can control the timing of, so that's not as critical. And that's pretty much the long and the short of it. I will say yet again, there's enough electricity in the panel to really hurt you. So make sure that you know what you're doing. This is not an easy do-it-yourself project. This is for people that have some experience working inside the control panel. It kind of ends this pass of my videos. I do expect one more video sometime later in the spring, early summer, when I start seeing it heat up. I gotta do something about the heat, and I'll do some research, and then whatever I figure out, I will do a video on that as well. So look for that. Thanks.